Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode number 59 of CBD Talk Podcast. And today we have an author, Dr. Earl Mindell, and he is the author of Healing with Hemp CBD Oil. He is listed in Amazon, and I will make sure that I put a link in the notes so that you guys can easily access that book and any of the other 60-plus books that he's written. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dr. Mindell. And can you give us a little bit of your background?
Well, I'm a pharmacist, a master herbalist, and a PhD in nutrition, and I've been in the field for about 50 years, and I think CBD is going to be the hottest supplement of the 21st century. And believe me, I've seen a lot of them come, a lot of them stay, and a lot of them go. This has been around since 1850. In fact, if it wasn't for our wonderful government, it still would be the biggest thing going. In 1937, they passed a tax bill that killed the whole cannabis CBD thing. But 75, 80 years later, it's coming back bigger than ever.
Have you seen, since you've been around this with the nutritionist world and for eons and pharmaceutical stuff, have you seen any other, plant that comes close to hemp?
Not really, because we found out now that we thought there was only one part of the brain that would have the connection to CBD. Now we found that it's all throughout the body. In fact, in my book, Healing with Hemp CBD Oil, on the cover, I say it has been used for treating acne, anxiety, arthritis pain, blood clots, brittle bones, eczema, depression, dry skin, heart disease, hormonal imbalance, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, infection, inflammation, insomnia, multiple sclerosis, PMS, psoriasis, stress, and more. So there's very few things you could say that. And the incredible thing is there's all kinds of scientific evidence to support this. In fact, in my book, I made sure that everything I wrote could be backed up by research. So if people want to go onto pubmed.gov, that's the National Library of Medicine, and just type in CBD, they'll get inundated with unbelievable amount of research worldwide. Unfortunately, the United States is behind when it comes to that because they have been considering this thing illegal for so long that other countries, of course, took up the mantle and did research on it.
So I don't think that, I know a lot of our listeners know quite a bit about CBD, but some of them are brand new to it. Can you help explain how one molecule, CBD, or actually even the entire plant, the hemp plant or cannabis plant, how can that help in so many different ways? It just doesn't sound logical.
Well, of course, health and medicine and the human body is not logical. We know what happens when something goes wrong once in a while with the body, but we don't know why it works. So you can't use logic on this. All I can tell you is it's got a 240-year track record, and actually goes back thousands of years in China, etc., that they've been using it for all kinds of things. And now we are learning more and more about it because we're doing research about it. In fact, the state of Israel is the prime researcher on CBD. American companies have poured all kinds of money into Israel because it was a lot easier than doing research in this country. So it's a pretty exciting thing. I haven't seen anything in my career that could equal this, and it's pathetic that our government, by the way, has a patent on CBD from 2003. So for 15 years, almost 16 years, they've had a patent on it, saying that it is a potent antioxidant and also is a neuroprotective. So they've known about this for almost 20 years. And, of course, there's a man by the name of George Washington. He was the first president. He grew hemp. So did Thomas Jefferson. In fact, the first two drafts of the Declaration of Independence were on hemp paper. The final draft was on parchment. There's a woman by the name of Betsy Ross. She actually produced a flag from hemp. And a man by the name of Henry Ford, he built a car out of hemp. How do you like that one?
You know, I love it, but I have to say that I really get pissed off that they have known that this is a neuroprotectant for so many years, have even patented it as a neuroprotectant, and the government is fighting to keep it away from us. That just inflames me.
I agree. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that the general public in the United States knows about CBD. How about this one? 1942, right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, our government had to really get the workers and everybody else in a gear to start manufacturing products. So they came out with a 14-minute movie called Hemp for Victory. Trying to get the farmers to grow more hemp because they use it for parachutes and for rope and for plastic. The reason that it went by the wayside is very simple. There was a company by the name of DuPont. They had a product called nylon. And I'm old enough to remember when women wore nylon stockings. They didn't like hemp because it was in competition. And then the cotton industry was worried that it might replace cotton. And interesting, the cotton industry is the number one consumer of insecticides and pesticides. So those guys didn't like the product either. And, of course, Hearst, the newspaper and the paper magnate, he was afraid that hemp would replace his empire. So there was always reasons behind this to try to kill it. And, of course, how about this one? 1909, Bayer, the drug company from Europe, brought their new drug to the United States called aspirin. And their number one competition was cannabis. Wow. So you're absolutely right.
It's a shame that these other companies that were so afraid of hemp just didn't start growing hemp and using it themselves with their own products. They just,
You're right, but they thought if they killed it, it would be a lot easier, and that's exactly what they did. So from 1939 to the present, there's been very little available. But if you lived in the United States in the early 1900s and went into a pharmacy, there's hundreds of remedies that were used with CBD, including the nausea and the pain, such as for sleep. I mean, it's unbelievable. In fact, if you go onto PubMed.gov and put CBD in cancer, you'll see that they've actually done research showing that it can actually cause less of a risk for prostate and breast cancer. Wow.
Amazing. And fortunately, we have other countries doing research on it, a lot of research, like in Israel. Like you said, not happening here except for a very comparatively small percentage, but hopefully that'll be changing soon. I understand that.
It is changing.
Yeah, with the farm bill coming up, hopefully that might spur some things forward. But yeah, we're behind.
Have all your listeners write, telephone, email, I don't know, whatever they do to their representatives and say, go to hemp, FDA. Go to hemp, because we've got to keep this a separate deal and make it available to everyone in the country the way it should be. Actually, the Food and Drug just okayed a kind of a semi-synthetic form of CBD as a prescription drug for the treatment of kind of a couple of unique forms of epilepsy. So that's going to be available already. So the DEA, which called it a Schedule 1 drug, now is moving down to Schedule 5. I mean, it's such a bureaucratic nightmare. And the thing that bothers me, too, is we're paying our farmers not to grow things, not to grow soy, not to grow wheat, not to grow whatever. And here is an opportunity for us to grow hemp. because the United States imports $78 million worth of hemp every year from outside of the country. Why can't we
And
grow
some
it
of those countries, we don't know what kind of pesticides they're using. We don't know, the heavy metals in the earth that they're growing it in. We don't know if they're using it to remediate environmental, problems. They could be growing in the problem in an area, a problematic area, and then all those chemicals are getting into the plant. No, this is not good. We need to be growing that here. And on top of that, the pharmaceutical that was approved, I read that the cost of that pharmaceutical without insurance is over $30,000 a year.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about $5,000-$10,000 a shot. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The state of Wisconsin, by the way, was the number one grower of hemp in the 30s, and the state of Kentucky now is trying to convert all their tobacco farmers to grow hemp. God. Because tobacco is a thing of the past. Hemp is now and the future.
Yeah, definitely. That's exciting. So, so we know that it's an amazing plant. You talked about some of the, just right off the book cover, some different health conditions that it can help. Do you have, do you know of any testimonials, that you've worked with people, or any specific stories that you could share with us about some success stories for CBD?
I have all kinds of stories. In fact, this is how I got into the thing in the first place. My wife has a problem with her knees. In fact, she's going to have a knee replacement. This is years ago. I found out about CBD. It was a kind of a roll-on cream. She applied it to her knee, and it worked instantly. Whenever I have any kind of discomfort, I put some on. Of course, I take it every day myself, orally, but it works both ways, external and internal. But I've heard over the years hundreds of people tell me it helps their sleep, it helps their mood. It is just a general, I call it a general tonic for life, because if you don't sleep well and you have a bad mood, it's going to affect all kinds of things. It's anti-stress. In fact, I was at a screening of a movie that talks about CBD against PTSD, and that's when our wounded warriors come back from overseas. They can have this condition. It works beautifully for that, instead of the opioids, etc., that are habit-forming and can cause all kinds of problems.
Definitely. Even with, like you talked about stress and anxiety, when my son's college roommate had anxiety before giving oral presentations in class, and so he was staying with us for a couple months. They were switching apartments or whatever, and I said, "Here, just try some CBD." He's like, "I don't know." I said, "Just try it. Just an hour before you go into your class, just try it." And so he did, and he came back that night. He said, "Oh my gosh, that was the easiest presentation I've ever given." It's really
amazing. I mean, for something that has a 240-year track record in this country, and for our government to be that's ridiculous to say that you can't do this and start to get that. See, they want to put a 13% tax on it like they do onto the cannabis THC. And until they do that, they're going to make it very difficult to get it legally.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, you know what's going to happen? People will just get it illegally. I mean, it's stupid for the government to lose that tax thing. And it's growing at a tremendous rate. I mean, they're talking about, I just saw some statistics here, that in the year 2020 odd, it'll be a $2 billion market. So we're not talking about peanuts here. It's growing and growing and growing. And a lot of it is due to word of mouth.
Yep. Well, it's because you can't advertise it very easily. So it has to be word of mouth. It's not like you can, Google AdWords. Woo, you can't advertise CBD with Google. That's for sure.
You can't make claims. See, that's the problem.
Right.
You can't make claims about a natural product. But that's why I write books, because there's still freedom of press, freedom of speech, and people should know about this. This happened to me about 40 years ago. I have a book called The Vitamin Bible, and I was a big proponent of taking supplements. And the same thing happened. People say, no, you don't need supplements. The medical people say, all you're doing is producing rich urine. I said, well, what's the price of urine now? Expensive urine. You know, the urine was a commodity. I mean, and now 50 years later, go into a market and almost every junk food in the world has some kind of vitamin in it because that looks good to the public. And even the government makes them add folic acid to many of the products to prevent a neurotubular defect of the newborn. So we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go, because I think we've got to start focusing on wellness in this country, keeping people healthy, not waiting for them to get sick, even though that's where the money is. And that's really what the problem is. They make money on sickness, not on health.
Exactly. So you would recommend taking CBD as a supplement, a daily supplement?
Yes. I think if you don't think you're under stress, if you live anywhere near a city, get in a car and make a left turn. Or watch the 11 o'clock news. Or watch the drug commercials on television. If that's not enough to give you stress, I don't know what is. I mean, there's one commercial, you know, I'm a pharmacist as well. There's one commercial for a drug they took off the market, but they brought it back in. They put called a black box warning. 3 times at the end of the commercial, it tells you it causes death. Different words.
Oh, my gosh.
But I guess it does take care of the condition. There's no doubt about that.
The side effects will kill you, literally. But
so if you don't think you're under stress, I say if you don't think you're under stress, you don't live in this country. I mean, half the country hates the other half because of politically or this or that. It's all nonsense. I mean, we're under stress. In fact, watching television is stressful. How about that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Monday Night Football is about to come on, so I know I'm going to have some stress tonight too.
That's why people love those sporting events. It gives them a chance to get rid of that pent-up emotion and stress for even a short period of time.
Yeah, I love yelling at the TV and screaming and like, yeah, touchdown. So yeah, I definitely use that. So okay, so when you're talking about, for example, the pharmaceutical commercials, what kind of side effects would you find with CBD?
None.
Exactly.
None that we know of. Within, I mean, if you took 4 or 5 gallons of the liquid, you might get an upset stomach or something. But with whatever it says on the label, there are no known side effects. Now, possibly, if you're taking certain drugs, I would check with your physician about taking. For instance, if you're taking sleeping pills and CBD, you might be able to cut back on a sleeping pill, heaven forbid. So that's something that I always say, check with your physician. But unfortunately, many of them don't know very much about it. That's why I say buy my book, Healing with Hemp CBD Oil, for your medical doctor. I'm trying to educate them again.
Yeah. Now, with them, like with as a pharmacist, are there regulations against pharmacists talking about CBD?
Well, it's not the regulations, but see, right now, the big pharma places, the big chains, they're afraid to carry it because until recently, the DEA considered it a Schedule I drug, which means it's in the same category as heroin. So they were afraid of it. They put it in that they lose their DEA license. So that's all going to change. But actually, hemp, industrial hemp oil that produces CBD is legal in all states, and we got to get that farm bill through again to make sure that it is kept separate from the cannabis THC, the one that's that's psychoactive type thing. And by the way, CBD is not psychoactive. It's non-toxic. It doesn't cause a buildup like many of the drugs do. I mean, you take some of those opiates, you need more and more to produce the same effect, and you get to a point where it can be fatal.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely having a problem with that in this country.
115 people a day in this country die from opiate overdose.
So how can CBD help that?
Oh, absolutely, it can help it because for mild to moderate pain and mood and sleeping, it could help tremendously. I mean, instead of shooting this thing with an elephant gun, why not use a natural product like this? Like you say, that friend of your son was having a little nervousness, took a CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fine. Well, the same thing's going to happen to people with anxiety and depression and stress and not sleeping. We can help millions of people if they knew about it. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure people understand the value and the benefits of this miraculous substance that George Washington grew.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think people are so afraid to say that they have tried CBD?
I don't think they're afraid to say it. I think that when they say it to some people, I mean, if I stood on the corner right near my office and said CBD, they say, "Are you calling your dog?" You know, I don't even know what you're talking about. So it's going to be. I've seen this before. It takes time, but let me tell you this. It is now 2019. By 2021, 2022, it'll be a household word.
Nice. Very nice. So what changes have you seen, like in the last 5 years when it comes to CBD in the industry?
5 years, 5 days. I mean, you can't go years with this. I was at an expo a couple of months ago, the first CBD Expo in the country. There was 100 different booths. And I'll tell you what's exciting, and I'm just happened to coming out with a book in January, CBD and Health for Dogs. It works beautifully for dogs and cats and horses. So I think the veterinary part of the CBD world is going to be tremendous as well. So I actually
at the expo I moderated the Vets, Pets, and CBD panel, and they were talking about that. And it's the sad thing is that the veterinary, like the AMA for the vets, you know, like the Veterinary Association,
American Veterinaries, AVA. Yep.
Thank you. They have it in there where they could actually lose their license if they discuss anything.
Well, right, because once again, it's been considered a Schedule I drug until just recently.
But even discussing it.
Well, because theoretically, it's like saying, I recommend heroin. Not good.
That's terrible.
It's absolutely terrible. It's all changing. It's all in flux. And, for instance, October 17th, which is a couple of 10 days from now, the country of Canada is legalizing all cannabis. And that's the second country after Uruguay. So it's all happening because, of course, the government realizes, wait a minute, this is a new source of revenue. They love those taxes. And that's what's going to bring it to the forefront.
I would also consider, in Canada's case, since they have nationalized medicine, that might actually even cut the cost of medicine, you know, of medical care there, which, since it's nationalized, might actually benefit the country.
I hope so. I hope it does. I hope it does, and I know it would do fantastic things here. Phenomenal. This is something that doesn't come around very often, where you have a product that's got a track record of hundreds of years, that's non-toxic, non-psychoactive, grown in this country, and it has all.
And it grows like a weed.
That's right. Grows like a weed. By the way, it doesn't need pesticides or insecticides like so many other plants. Not at all.
How about you tell us some other uses of the hemp plant?
Well, once again, it was used for, I see hemp seed for source of protein. It can be used for rope, for parachutes, for costumes, for plastic. I mean, I told you that Henry Ford built a car out of hemp. It's that strong. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And I've heard of hemp fuel.
Hemp fuel.
I've heard of hemp fuel.
Yes. But what they do is when they extract the CBD from industrial hemp oil, that puts it into a completely different situation. And that's what I think is going to become. I'll make a prediction. It will overtake the so-called cannabis THC because that's a very limited market of people who want to get high and whatever. This is something that's used on a daily basis by millions and millions of people that can get the benefits from it.
Amazing. And then the byproduct would be, for the paper and the textiles and hempcrete and
plastic, yes.
Plastic,
oh,
yeah. Amazing. And it grows.
And it's also a wonderful cosmetic, too. The hemp oil can be used in external use, softens the skin. I mean, it's used in a lot of different things as well.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So what new products, like, within the last 6 months, or what new products in whatever time period surprised you the most when it came to use of either hemp or CBD?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was at a expo, not this one, but one before, and there was a company that had veterinary products, and what they did was, horses love sugar cubes. In fact, a lot of horse enthusiasts will reward their horses that do something well with sugar cubes. They actually they ingested the sugar cubes with CBD. How do you like that?
Oh, wow. That's
terrific.
Awesome.
And also I've seen now strips with CBD that you just put on your tongue and it melts right away. So there's more. I mean, there's all kinds of edibles as well. I've seen lollipops. I've seen cupcakes. I've seen chocolate bars. I mean, it's unlimited. In fact, the Coca-Cola company, they're no dummies. They're looking into putting some CBD into a drink in Canada because, of course, it'll be legal there in just a few days.
And I thought I had heard that there had been, if not Coca-Cola, that one of the drinks had hemp in it, or maybe before, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something. I thought had been like in the old, like early 1900s, that like some of the soda fountains had hemp-based drinks. But
absolutely. The pharmacist Pembroke found a wine in Europe that had cocoa leaves. So he came out with it wasn't a drink Coca-Cola, it was actually a tonic. It was green. And then there was another man, another pharmacist that said, well, I want to try something different. I'm going to produce a product called 7-Up that has lithium, which is a so nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. And yet we now in the early 21st century are learning about this product that's been around for literally thousands of years, and our first president grew it.
Yeah, amazing. What would you like to see? What products would you like to see come out with CBD?
Everything. I'd like to see it in as many possible, different kind of thing, because people, there's gummies, there's swallow capsules, there's liquid, there's edibles, there's external. I mean, let's put the whole gamut out so that it's easy for people to utilize it in any way, shape, or form. And that's the way it should be.
That's true. I think I completely agree with you. I think it needs to be everywhere.
It will be everywhere. It's only a matter of time. People get what they want. And when people find out the benefits of this unbelievable remedy, it's going to be available everywhere.
What do you feel about with the different cannabinoids that they're that are out there, like the CBG and CBN?
Well, once again, if you get a raw form of CBD, you're going to have all of that in there. But the two that have worked the best are the THC and the CBD. And my feeling is let's not get too hung up on this or that. Let's get people to try the product and see the difference. And then it's like vitamin E, for instance. Years ago we used to say the D-alpha vitamin E, and now we know it's a gamma tocopherol, and then there's a form of vitamin E called tocotrienols. So all that comes out once people are using the product.
Right, and so as CBD gains ground, then there'll be more studies and more people using it, and we can find out what some of these other things are doing, but we don't know what the other ones are quite up to yet. So get on the CBD oil now, and you'll find out
exactly
the benefits of the others.
My feeling is don't get too complicated because people can't see the forest because all those trees are in the way. My feeling is here's something that can help you sleep better, help your mood, help your nausea, help your anxiety. Should I go on for another half an hour? I mean, unbelievable. This is a wonderful product that can be easily obtained. You don't need a prescription, and it's non-toxic, non-psychoactive, and doesn't cause a buildup, because many of these products that you see that are prescribed, they build up in the system so that you actually need more and more to produce the same effect, and that's not a good sign at all. That's
definitely not a good thing. So we when did we really start studying cannabis and finding out about CBD?
Well, we didn't. There was a scientist in the book, Healing with Hemp CBD Oil. I talked about this scientist in Israel that actually isolated CBD, and it was not, it was in the 60s. It wasn't that long ago. So we knew nothing about it. We knew that the cannabis, but we didn't know all the separate ingredients. So we've been studying it now for maybe 40, 50 years, but unfortunately in this country, very limited. There was only one state, the University of Mississippi was the only place that they allow to grow it for research studies. And I just heard last week, exciting, UCLA, that's the University of California, Los Angeles, got an application and was granted the okay to import CBD from, I think it was Canada, for medical research for tremors. Wow! Where have they been for 40 years? I mean, unbelievable. We got our head in the sand here, and we're just starting to wake up, and it's too bad, but it's going to be a very fast revolution. I know it is.
I hope so. I know it just seems like it's taking so long because we know so many people that it can help, and every person that's in pain, and every mother that's watching their child seize, and every person with rheumatoid arthritis that's having to go get an infusion, it's
injection or taking some of those drugs that have. Look, we can only try. We put out the word, and people. I tell you one thing: once people try it, you got them. I mean, they know it works, and it's real. I was at a dinner a couple of nights ago, and people a little older. I thought I said CBD. I figured, what's that? Oh no, I use it all the time, and so it's becoming much more known than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the smoke is only coming out of the volcano. It's just ready to erupt.
Oh, good. That's an awesome thing. So, other than the book, how do you work with CBD? I mean, do you consult with people, or
Yes.
how?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I consult with
yeah,
people.
tell me about that.
But my feeling is that I want to reach the masses, the millions of people out there. I want them to know what I know. That's what I did with the Vitamin Bible. I want people, and we've sold 11 million of those in 34 languages. So
Amazing.
books are still important. If you get them on e-form or the paper, I don't care. I want people to know what I know, and that's what my major goal is, to educate people about how to take as good care of themselves as they do their dog, cat, automobile, rose bush, and front lawn.
Yeah, it would be.
You watch those cat and dog commercials on television, the finest vitamins, minerals, natural food, amino acids. Whoa, I don't see too many of them smoking a cigarette or drinking a scotch.
Exactly. Yeah, if we took as good care of ourselves as we took of our pets, then that definitely we would have a much healthier society.
That's what I'm trying to do.
That is awesome. Okay, so with the Farm Bill, so what some people might not understand is that where the states that are growing it, like Colorado, I live in Colorado, and last year we were the highest, and then Kentucky was right behind us. But the laws are such that transporting even CBD across state lines is frowned upon.
Exactly, it's not frowned upon. It's illegal.
Yeah, but we can get stuff from China, and it can go all over the country.
We can bring in all the booze and all the cigarettes and all the drugs we want. So we're going to have to hire another 100 million people standing at all the borders watching for that CBD. All the airports. I mean, it's ludicrous, but it's going to change. I mean, it's only a matter of time. It's changing, and unfortunately, it's not changing fast enough. But imagine that $78 million worth of hemp is imported into the United States, and we're paying the farmers not to grow stuff.
Yeah, we're paying other countries to give us stuff that we could be growing here, while we're also paying the farmers not to grow it. That's wow. And from what I understand, it's actually very good for the soil to grow it, and it's a great crop rotator as well. Like if they're growing a soybean, and then to supplement the next crop, as a hemp, and
the problem is, you see, the problem is you don't need insecticides or herbicides or pesticides. Oh, that's not good for those companies.
Oh my gosh!
They don't like that.
The greed.
They want you to spray everything.
Yeah. Heaven forbid. And I think that's also, a lot of the problems that we're having with the different energy companies is, everything's, we like to have some solar and some wind and
not
some, not too much, because we got to keep boosting up that coal industry.
That's a whole other show. Don't get me going on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like the same thing. We don't, because we're so worried about.
I said we can convert all the cars to hydrogen right now, and it burns something called water, H2O.
And that's such a pollutant.
The oil companies are gone, and all the this is gone. The tire companies. So it all comes down to, unfortunately, the bottom line. But sooner or later, the public gets what it wants, and this is too good of a thing not for the public to know about.
Amazing. All right, so Dr. Mindell is recommending a daily dose of CBD.
Yeah, 25 to 50 milligrams is a good amount to take. Make sure that when you buy your CBD that it is certified, third-party laboratory analysis, it should say on the label, and that it contains that much of CBD. And not just hemp, because unfortunately, hemp might not have very much CBD in it, so it's got to say how much CBD is in the product.
Got it. Okay, any final words of wisdom for our listeners tonight?
All I can say is go to Hemp FDA.
Go to Hemp FDA. All right, we're going to, everyone needs to tell the FDA that it's time.
Help our American farmers. Help our American people to be well and to stay well, and we can do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you again, Dr. Mindell. We truly appreciate it. I will be including a link to his Amazon page and a link to his Healing with Hemp CBD Oil book page, which gives you a synopsis on it, if you'd like that as well. But we'll put a few different links up there for you guys to find them. And we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and be well.
Okay, everybody. Stay happy, stay healthy. We'll see you in the next episode.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.